back test is a real thing. Look it up. That was a real thing back in the day. One thing I was not expecting to see in this movie was Queen Latifah's titties. I was Jew in so many ways, and one of them was definitely a freak. Well, oh shit, I kicked my laptop. What's cracking, y'all? It's your host of the most, the real Taylor Nicole, back with another episode for y'all. Hope you're having a beautiful Friday on this here good Valentine's Day Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black everything. Happy times. How you doing? Hope y'all been having a wonderful Black History Month. I hope your blackness is shining through and bright as bright. And if you're not black, then I still hope your day is shining bright. But anyway, y'all know what it is when your host with the most gets on the screen. I'm either talking about some Black history, or I'm talking about something, or I'm talking about this, or I'm talking about that. But today we're talking about the podcast, because that's what y'all here for. Y'all here for the pod. So welcome to the pod. Once again, this is Movies with Tay, and we are on episode 30. We're on episode 30, y'all. We are literally 30 more episodes away from me hitting a 1-year mark on YouTube as podcasting, and also the milestone that they say most people get to and quit. So we are so close, y'all. We are so close. We got 30 more episodes before we hit that milestone, and I am super proud of myself, and I am proud of everybody who's been tuning in, whether you're watching the shorts or you're watching the podcast. Whatever it is you're watching of mine, I appreciate you and love you wholeheartedly. So keep rocking with your girl. Like I said, we're gonna eventually run it up. We're gonna get there. Also, I'm still working on Anguish. I haven't gave up on miniseries. I'm still working on it. I just been busy. I totally forgot I had already laid out my February the way I wanted it to, so I pre-spoke about dropping Anguish this month, and I was incorrect. It's not until next month, so I apologize, but we're gonna get it done. Anyway, your host with the most, the real Taylor Nicole. I always want to bring y'all some nice, good, wholesome conversation when she come out here before we just jump right into the show, you know what I mean? But y'all here for a podcast about movies, because that's what I'm here to do. So like I said, it's your host with the most, the real Taylor Nicole, and we ready to go, baby. Back at it again with another episode. It's episode 30 once again. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. The name of the movie we're dealing with today is Bessie. It runs for about an hour and 55 minutes. It was released May 16th of 2015. The director was Dee Reese. This movie was nominated for Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Television Movie, Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress, which was one of the actresses that I will eventually mention in a second, and a limited or anthology series or a movie of a whole, or movie, excuse me. There's a whole bunch more awards that they were nominated for. This movie won 23 awards and 47 nominations. This movie can be watched on Max, YouTube and YouTube TV, Hulu, Sling TV, Amazon Prime Video, Google Play Movies and TV, Apple TV, and Fandango at home. Once again, this movie can be watched at Max, YouTube TV, Hulu, Sling TV, Amazon Prime, Google Play Movies and TV, Apple TV, and Fandango at home. Now, remember I told y'all earlier that one of the actresses in this film was nominated for Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into who's the actresses and actors. So, the lady who was nominated for that was Miss Queen Latifah, who played Miss Bessie Smith. Alright. Then we got Miss Monique as Ma Rainey. She was the mentor. Tika Sumpter as Lucille. She was a lover in the film. Candy Alexander as Viola. She was the big sister in the film. Michael Kenneth Williams as Jack G. R.I.P. to Mr. Michael, but he was her man/husband in the film. Mike Epps as Richard. Richard was her hookup. Later on became her man in the film. Tori Kettles as Clarence. He was her brother. And Charles S. Dutton as Williams' Pa Rainey. He was Ma's man in the film. Although all those people were mentioned, some of them weren't in the film very long, but they still had a significant role in the film. Before we jump into the next segment, just want to tell you a little bit about Miss Bessie Smith. Miss Bessie Smith is a real person. So Queen Latifah was portraying a real person. Miss Bessie Smith was born April 15th, 1894 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. She passed away September 26th of 1937 at the tender age of 43 in Clarksdale, Mississippi. She passed away from a car traffic collision. She was the most talented, courageous, outspoken blues singer in the world of jazz. She was strong and powerful in her own right, and she didn't take no shit from nobody. But she learned that from her mentor, and I learned that from watching this film. So without further ado, let's go in and start talking about the film. And I did take down some notes, but honestly, I'm probably going to jump through some of these notes here and there. Like I said, if you guys want to see my notes, I'm going to eventually post them on Patreon. You will have to pay for them, though, because it's about to be a lot of work for me to get these notes uploaded. So you'll probably have to pay for them. But I'll get them up there. But like I said, let's jump right into telling the film. So the movie opens up with Bessie. It's funny because it opens up, had almost ends, so to speak. So it opens up with Bessie coming through her door in a white gown, beautiful gown that is, with the feather top like they used to wear back in the day when they did performances. And that's all that's what it is. She comes in and she's having this flashback of when she was a child. At the time, you don't know who's chasing her around. You could just hear her calling for her mommy and she's crying, you know what I'm saying? So you get that flashback, right? Well, we start to see that back in 1913, which is when Bessie started her jazz career at the age of 19, you see her trying to perform. Crowd ain't really feeling her. She's got this lover, Lucille, who she, spends most of her time with. They stay in this little room together, whatnot. And she crashes a rehearsal. Then, so Lucille works. I guess she works for the guy who's holding the rehearsal. She don't necessarily dance, but she works for the guy, because it doesn't really talk too much about what Lucille does. You just know she works for the guy. And Bessie tries to get in on the action, but they do this brown paper bag test on her, and basically she was too dark. She had to be lighter than the brown paper bag, and she was darker than it. So they was like, no thank you. So she like, okay, whatever, cuz. But like I said, she had her first performance that we got to see, and she just really wasn't pulling the crowd. She wasn't on the crowd. So she later goes to go see Ma Rainey. And Ma Rainey is deemed the mother of blues. Okay, that's what they consider her, the mother of blues. And when Bessie see her come out on stage, Bessie in awe, because Ma Rainey got the crowd going crazy. You hear me? The crowd messing with Ma Rainey. They loving her. They like, yes. You know what I'm saying? Bessie like, okay, so this is OG. I need to learn from her. You know what I'm saying? So she watched the show, indulged in the show, and she takes a risk and hops on Ma Rainey's train and, pretty much tell her, like, I'm trying to get in on this. Like, I ain't getting nowhere. I'm like, come on. So, excuse me, my head itching. But when she hopped on that train, she almost got shot too, because Ma Rainey was about to pow. But she realized that she wasn't like a threat. So Ma Rainey pretty much take Bessie underneath her wing. She starts showing her the game. She starts taking her on the road. She starts showing her how to get what she works. She starts showing her how to, woo the crowd and make the crowd love her. She started giving her the game, right? So the next few shows that they have, Bessie kind of get to see and learn a little bit from Ma. Well, one show that Ma did, Bessie didn't do so great out there. The crowd was all right with her, but, you could tell she didn't do that great. She go to the bar, and Ma Rainey sitting at the bar, but she dressed up as a man. And Bessie ain't paying this person no mind, because she think it's a man trying to flirt with her or whatever. And she's sitting there talking to her, and Ma Rainey get up and go on stage. And Bessie asks the chick, you say Ma? She's like, you're just talking to her. When she turned around, she realized it was Ma dressed up as a man getting ready to perform for the crowd. And one thing that Ma told her is, you got to learn your crowd. You got to learn what you got to give them, no matter what it is. whatever that crowd is used to and looking for, is what you got to give them. If that means dressing up as a man. So Bessie get to see it. Bessie like, okay, this is what we doing. Like I said, Ma giving her the game on what to do. So Ma can continue to take her into the ring. They continue to grow together. They continue. Bessie getting a taste of bread. Bessie getting a taste of the good life, so to speak. So Bessie and Ma start to clash because Ma was a little bit jealous, but and she kind of had the right to be a tad bit jealous. All the game that Ma gave Bessie started using it. And one of the shows that they did together, Bessie, she tried to outdo Ma. Okay, she didn't try to outdo. She did outdo. She outdid Ma, and the crowd loved Bessie. And at that point, Ma and Bessie realized that they wasn't meant to be together for too long. Ma did what she needed to do. She gave Bessie the game. Now Bessie need to take the game and go do her own thing. So that's what Bessie do. But before Bessie got off that train, Ma made her give up them shoes that she bought her. Like, hand them motherfuckers over, shorty. So Bessie, she like, whatever, let's go do our thug thizzle. So Bessie get her own people, her brother included, and her brother Clarence. She go get him, and they basically start their own band. Bessie start having a career, so she start picking up and start getting her own thing going. Held auditions to get girls, and then she did the paper bag test, but you had to be darker than the bag to work with Bessie. And where people consider that petty nowadays, that's what the term means. Back then it was just an eye for an eye. You did me that way, I'm gonna do somebody else that way. So she didn't want to work with no one that was considered high yellow. So which means me wouldn't have been able to work with Bessie. But I ain't do nothing, Bessie. I ain't do nothing. But anyway, so as Bessie's getting bigger and bigger, people are starting to notice Bessie. She getting that notoriety, she getting that love. This is where Jack G come in at. It was once again played by Mr. Michael Kenneth Williams. He played Jack G. And Jack G, he come along and he want to be her man, so she make him audition to be her man. And they go through these little rough patches of him being a tough guy, stand-up guy for him helping making moves and all that other stuff. They start going through them little weird things. So they end up dealing with each other. Jack and Bessie, Jack and Bessie do. Like I said, they end up having this bar fight because this dude tried to push up on Bessie and Jack wasn't having it. So they get into this little bar fight or whatever the case may be. Later on, you get to kind of get some clarity as to what those flashbacks that Bessie was having is about. See, Bessie and her brother and her other siblings were raised by their bigger sister, Viola, because their mother died. So Clarence and Bessie, were the only two, from what we understand, were only two who just left. They went out on their own when they got old enough and they left. Because Viola was abusive, manipulator. She just was all the way around crazy, if you ask me. She kept a padlock on the refrigerator door so the kids couldn't get food whenever they chose to. She would dictate when they couldn't. So Bessie and Clarence had enough. So they went to go figure it out and make it on their own. Well, they ended up going back to where they was raised. And Bessie has without saying too much, they have like this exchange. And Bessie, because she don't want them kids to go through what she went through, she's quick to fish out money. You know what I'm saying? She just giving out money so that Viola don't treat them kids like they got treated. Like, you got money to go get them food, so ain't no excuse to not get it for them, basically. And Viola, I believe, was also an alcoholic too, maybe even a drug addict. I don't know. It didn't go too deep in there, but that's what I got. That's the vibes I got. But anyway, so later on, they end up going to like this little bar after that, and they go having a good time. And some dude in the bar messing with Lucille and this other chick. Really, he was messing with the chick Lucille was talking to. He kept trying to flirt with her and trying to get her to, mess with him. And she like, I'm cool. Bessie had enough of his shit, so Bessie got up and buck out his ass real good. And he ran up out the club. Everybody, he embarrassed, right? They laughing at him, so he embarrassed. Well, Bessie's so drunk that she ain't even paying no attention to her surroundings. She got Lucille and another chick and her brother in front of her. With a dude, she came back around. hurt twice in her stomach. Now, for me, I'm like, where is Jack at? Where Jack G at? Where is he at? Where her husband at? You vowed to be there for her, and you vowed to protect her and all that jazz. Well, at this time, he ain't her husband yet, but you know what I'm saying? He vowed to be there for her, and you gone. Where's you at? But two, how did the other three not see him coming? I get y'all were drinking and everything, but how nobody see this man run up on her and kick her real quick like that? Like, I didn't understand that. But anyway, she ended up getting stabbed, and they take her to the hospital, and you know, her mentality is to get up and go. She ain't sitting around waiting to heal. She ain't doing none of that. But Jack finally came to see her, and she said the same thing I would have said. Where the hell were you at when I was getting stabbed? So she ends up not sticking around in the hospital for too long and hops up and gets back to doing what she knows best, performing. And at this point, she getting so big, the labels are starting to look at her. One in particular was the Black Swan label, ran by W.E.B. Du Bois. And she goes to her interview, but they end up pushing back and not wanting to deal with her because she's not what they looking for, basically, is what was said. Honestly, I think it was the way that she came into the audition, so to speak, that did it for them. But she cared, but she didn't care. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, she kind of sort of like I said, she did care, but she didn't care. She was mad, but she was mad about so many other things. And Jack G come bringing these different ideas to her about other labels. And Clarence, he too busy want to argue with Jack G to have his sister's best interests at heart. So she kind of just get fed up. And the only person that was able to keep her calm was Lucille. And it kind of jumps from that to now Columbia Records want to offer her a deal. And Jack G is the one who brought them to her. She said, get a deal. Because she wasn't satisfied with the offer that they had brought to her. Once again, like I told y'all, Ma Rainey taught her to know her worth. And that deal they offered her, she considered out of her worth. So she didn't take it. Well, later on, Jack brings back another deal from Columbia Records that's more than what they originally offered her and with a better idea. But he's bringing her, before he presents the contract to her, he's giving her all these velvet boxes that got money in it. And the final velvet box he gives her is a box that has a diamond ring in it. And at this point is when he proposes to become her husband. She accepts his ring and the contract with Columbia Records. She signs with him. She does some recording with him or whatever. It doesn't really go into what happened with her record deal with Columbia Records. It doesn't go too great into what actually happened. I didn't get a chance to research it, but I'm pretty sure that at some point her contract was up and she just never renewed another contract with them, or they might have dropped her. I don't know. I couldn't find too much about it, but I'm pretty sure just her contract was up. Well, during this time, we kind of find out that Jack G and Bessie have this toxic ass relationship. She's still messing around with Lucille, messing around with other women, other men. One in particular was Richard, which is the guy who is who becomes her bootlegger. Like, she met him from him bootlegging liquor, and she was knocking boots with him like that. So they both got their side pieces that they mess with. So, and Jack G got his and she got hers. Well, when she did complete her first recording record with Columbia Records, she sent it to Ma Rainey. And I was kind of surprised she did that, but that let me know that she still had love for Ma. She just knew that they couldn't work together. Like back then, two big women, two big queens couldn't, for some reason, they couldn't work together because y'all think the controversy nowadays is something. Back in the day, it was something else. You couldn't step on each other's toes and still work together. Like nowadays, they'll step on each other's toes. Maybe 2 years, 3 years later, they'll be back cool or working together. Or, whatever. But these two, they knew they was too big to work with each other, so they separated. But she sent Ma a record of, the recording. Like I said, at this time, Bessie's career is still rolling. She's still doing big things. She's still just on her top bread and still just messing around with whoever she wants to. On the real, Bessie Smith was a big freaky freak based on what this movie, the way they depict her in this movie. She was a musical genius, but she was a big freak too. She ain't had no problem getting hers. That's on everything. She had no problem getting hers. Well, anyway, like I said, Bessie's career is continuing to roll and take off. She's doing a show in Atlanta, Georgia, and them people, them hoods, they pull up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get on too much attention, you know, or notoriety, but them hoods pull up to one of her shows trying to burn down the tent they in, and she come out there. Bessie Smith was a no-nonsense woman based on what this movie said. She went out there and she shut that shit down, told them get up out of here. They had guns and everything. She still wasn't scared. She said, get up out of here. And then the crowd fell in love with her even more because they like, oh shit, she tough. She ain't scared of these people. So, you know, they on the road, they going traveling through Virginia, Missouri, and other kind of places. Well, while they was in Missouri, I believe it was in Missouri, they got shot at while she was on her train because Jack G ended up getting her own train. And Clarence was mad. Clarence was jealous. Clarence was mad because he was like, I've been told you we need to get her one. Jack G like, okay, you said it, but you didn't do it. You talking, I'm doing. Which is true. Why talk about it? Just go do it. You know that she ain't gonna trip. But see, that let me know that Bessie wasn't really paying attention to her money either, because there's no way in hell a bunch of money would be missing from my account to purchase a train and I didn't know nothing about it. But anyway, like I said, they going through Missouri. I think they got shot at while they was in Missouri. Nobody got hurt though. I don't even think it really penetrated the train like that. I honestly don't think it did. But she's on the train and they're driving past black folks. You know what I'm saying? That's in the fields. Like, they not slaves or like that, but they in the fields and they working and everything. And she just kind of like, you know, all her people and seeing them know that that's her and showing her love, it made her feel good, you know what I mean? So she ended up going to this all-white party. When I say all-white party, I mean all-white party. It was only 3 black folks that were invited in there, which was herself, Langston Hughes, and then Lucille, who she took with her. But they outside on the balcony, and this guy, Carl Van Vetchny, he's trying to get Langston to tell a poem, and Langston like, nah, I'm good, bro, I'm cool. And Bessie like, I'll go sing for him, you know what I'm saying? And Langston like, don't do that. Like, this is not the type of people that you think it is. Don't do that. Bessie like, boy, whatever. She go out there and she get to singing. They loving it, all right? They eating it up. They loving it. But what Langston was basically trying to tell her is that these people just still see you as, they don't see you as a human. That they just don't. So she thought everything was good in the hood because they loved her song. They you know, they loved it. But then the same guy, Carl Van Vetchner, he disrespects her and tells her, like, I would like to, you know, interview you and use you for one of my books I got, and it was called Heaven. I'm not gonna say the actual word, but that's what it was called, right? And she like, what? Threw water in his face. Didn't care about them people being around. She threw water in his face, or liquor, or whatever it was, and she walked up out of there. You know, like, bro, you got me messed up. You're not gonna use me as your token and nothing. So, you know, you ain't use me as a token nigga and nothing. Point blank in the period. Well, she ended up leaving that, and at that point, Langston Hughes was like, I told you. You know what I'm saying? So, over time, her and Jack started having problems. Jack want to be disrespectful, bring his side pieces around, trying to get Bessie to take him on the road with her as her backup dancers, singers, or whatever the case may be. And, you know, he's just being real disrespectful. Like, they both know each other got side pieces. It's just that she don't flaunt hers in his face, and he ain't supposed to flaunt his in her face. Because Bessie wasn't giving up her lifestyle, messing with whoever she wanted to, whenever she wanted to, just because she was married. And she made that clear to Jack in the beginning, and he agreed to it. So they start having marital problems. You know what I'm saying? So she started kicking with Richard even heavy. You know, she's still messing with Richard. She's still, you know, still one of her boos. Well, her sister Viola made an appearance on the train, on Bessie's train, because everybody said she had one. Her sister didn't believe it, so she made an appearance on the train or whatever the case may be. And then they have a little exchange, an awkward exchange. Watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. They had this little awkward exchange, but Bessie ends up inviting her to a show, and then later on, Bessie ends up buying a house. And Jack like, you ain't consult me about buying no house. And Bessie like, I don't got to. What are you talking about? That's my money. And at that point, that's where you can tell her and Bessie, Jack and Bessie was starting to have a real marital problems, because Jack like, okay, you done got a big head and think because you making all this money that you can treat me like I'm a low ball. You know what I'm saying? So he mad at all these people she let live in the house, all her family, these kids, her sister. I don't think her brother lived there, and if he did, he was out the way. Lucille even living there. And Jack like, what the hell? Like, what do all these people got to live here for? And Bessie done went so far, she done adopted this kid, made everybody accept this kid, made Jack accept him as Jack G. Jr. Like, she done, you know what I'm saying, when did everything. Now, it doesn't specify, in the movie it talks about him being adopted, but I don't know if that's really the case. I don't know if it was really Jack's son for real and he just didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But anyway, over time, Bessie's music career starts to fall to the wayside because Jack ends up taking money from Bessie to go fund the same chick he wanted Bessie to take on the road with her. He starts taking her money to fund her and make her the next big thing, which starts pushing Bessie out of the people's view. Don't nobody want to see Bessie no more. They want to see Gertrude now. And now Bessie, she go home, she snap on him, rightfully so. And he like, girl, whatever, and he dip on her. He leave her. And he leave her to go be with Shorty. And he managing her and sleeping with her and, you know what I'm saying, and using Bessie's money to do so. So Bessie starts to fall off. She loses her house. She loses most of her jewelry. And then she also lost Lucille because Lucille couldn't take being the side piece no more and finally decided to get her a man and go marry this man and have a family. So now Bessie then lost everything she built up. She just lost. She lost her husband. She lost her lover. She lost her sister. She lost the house. She lost most of her jewelry. The only thing she didn't lose was her brother Clarence. He the only one who stayed true to her. It's the only one that she got to keep was her brother. And even though she fell to the bottom, he still stayed there to pick her back up. She even lost her son, Jack G. Jr. Because Viola, her sister, scandalous ass, let Jack in the house to take the son. Like, shit was crazy. But like I said, she ends up falling down. And the same company she originally signed with, which was Columbia Records, is the same company helped her start building her empire back up. Start getting her back out there to where she started making money. And the same man who loved her and wanted to be with her, Richard, right back in her corner. You know what I'm saying? And they reconnected because she was throwing like a rent party. And he had bought her these emerald triangle earrings. And she had to pawn those. And when she went to go count the rent money out of the little hat, she seen those earrings in there, so she knew he was there. And she went and found him, and that's how they reconnected and got rekindled. Like, this man waited for her, basically. It was a cute little love story, which is why I'm telling this one for Valentine's Day, because it's a cute little biopic / love story, if you ask me, because there was some love in there. Like I said, she's finally back performing in front of people. She finally back getting to the money. She finally goes and sees her mother's grave. You know what I'm saying? She just getting back to Bessie. Now, like I said, her and Richard end up becoming a thing. The movie ends with her and Richard sitting in the back of a truck. That's how the movie ends. So it does not end with her death that happened in 1937. So they don't even bring that up at all in the movie. It's not even depicted. It's not talked about. It's none of that. So they ended in a happy way, and that's what I liked about it, is the fact they ended it in the most gracious and blissful way that you could end a movie. So I really appreciated them not ending her film with her death, because that's how a lot of biopics nowadays are ending, with people's death, and I appreciated them not ending her biopic that way. Now for my notes section, for me, I thought it was crazy to see Ma Rainey dressed up as a man back in the day. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. So that kind of threw me. And I guess maybe it was a thing because in some clubs, women are not allowed to perform. So I believe that's probably why they dressed up as a man, because women weren't allowed to perform in certain clubs, maybe. But it was crazy nonetheless, and that was dope. And she literally was a crowd pleaser. Like, Ma Rainey literally gave Bessie the game on how to become what she was. You know what I'm saying? And Ma Rainey really loved Bessie, because when Bessie went through her hard times, Bessie was able to go back to Ma Rainey and get picked back up again and get loved on again. And that was dope to me. You know what I'm saying? That her mentor, even though they had their disagreements, her mentor still loved her enough to pick her back up and say, you got this. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, when Bessie started doing that bag test, like it was done to her, I ain't gonna lie, I would have did it too. Especially back in the day. Y'all want to play with me? Alright, you gotta be darker than a bag to come. Which, you know what I'm saying? That's a real thing. The bag test is a real thing. Look it up. That was a real thing back in the day. The bag test is not a fake thing. I also thought it was crazy how Lucille was so comfortable for so long being Bessie's side piece / lover for all those years. And then, to me, it was selfish, because when you started noticing the downfall of Bessie is when you finally wanted to break free and go get you a man. Like, you should have been and broke free then. Why wait? Like, to me, that was Henri, that she wanted to wait until Bessie started going downhill to go find her own love, and use the excuse that she was tired of being a side piece, basically. Oh, it was a scene in the movie where where Jack G presented the train to Bessie, and it said Jack G presents Bessie Smith, and she was like, "Why your name on the train?" That shit took me out. Y'all gotta see it. And I know there's no clips in this episode. I'm doing away with putting clips in here just because YouTube either keeps flagging them, or the people who own the copyrights to the movie keeps flagging them. So I'm just done putting clips in here. I'm not trying to get my YouTube account banned. But anyway, yeah, she was like, "What's your name on there for?" Y'all, if y'all go watch Bessie, go watch it. Y'all gonna die. That movie was good, bro. It was good. One thing I was not expecting to see in this movie was Queen Latifah's titties. I was not expecting to see that, bro. I don't know if it was a suit, because it kind of looked like it might have been a prosthetic suit, you know, that they put on her. But if them was really Queen Latifah's titties, which I don't think they was, but if they was, I was not expecting to see them things. That threw me off. Like, I didn't expect to see that coming. So if it was a prosthetic body, like, whoever did it did a good job. But yeah, I did not expect to see that. I didn't. Once again, no disrespect to Miss Bessie Smith, R.I.P., but baby, you was a freak. That movie depicted you in so many ways, and one of them was definitely a freak. You still was a no-nonsense type of woman, and you held your own, and I respect you for that, but that woman was a freak. Wherever she needed to get it from, she was going to get it, you heard me? Male or female, Bessie was going to get it, you heard me? I do appreciate Ma Rainey for telling Bessie some real shit, though. Like, every time she talked to Bessie, was some real shit coming out of her mouth. And particularly when Bessie fell off for the first time in her career, Ma Rainey told her, basically, only you can feel that hole that you were having. Nobody else can feel it but you. I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face. Only you gonna feel that hole, that void that you're missing. You is the only one who got the key to fill that. So you the only one who gonna be able to do that. And I feel like that was so dope of Ma Rainey to give Bessie and keep lifting Bessie up. But that's my notes. Now, we're concluding the film. This film was a drama, music / biopic, and this movie was just kind of telling about Bessie Smith's life, from the start of her career to the downfall to the pickup of her career, basically. Like I said earlier, she did unfortunately pass away at the age of 43. So, you know, after 1937, there's no more history about Miss Bessie Smith. But from the time she was born, 1894 to 1937, there's history there. And this movie did a great job of depicting her history from 1913 up until, I want to say it was like 1934 is how far it went. From 1913 to 1934 is how far the movie depicted her music career and her life. You know what I'm saying? So one thing that it definitely showed us is you can get everything you want in life and have it for years, and it just takes one thing to bring you back down, and then it's game over, or it's you pick up and start all over again. And I would say one thing about Bessie Smith is that she wasn't a quitter. She might have gotten the dumps and got sad and depressed, but she wasn't a quitter. She had ambition. She had motivation. She had mentors. She had love around her, especially her brother. Her brother was an A1 man. Clarence was an A1 man because he stuck by his sister's side no matter what. You hear me? So as you can tell, I highly rate this movie a 10 out of 10. Highly recommend watching it because it's a good movie, bro. It's a good movie. Great biopic. And I don't really watch biopics that often. But these next couple episodes are going to be kind of sort of biopics, if you will. And this one is a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend watching this biopic. You hear me? As y'all all know, I really appreciate the attention to detail in movies. So that's one reason why I rated it a 10 out of 10, because I feel like this movie really depicted and paid attention to details really good. Like really good. They really captured that back in the day vibe. Like if we didn't know the movie was recorded back in 2015, and let's say they put a black and white screen over it, you would have actually thought it was from back then. Like, that's how good they depicted it with the props, the aesthetics, everything that they used. You know what I'm saying? So that concludes our episode for today. Once again, thank everybody for tuning in and viewing the episodes. Please make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for you girls. Show me some love, because I'm showing you some love. I'm paying for these movies now. A lot of these movies I've had to do are not free. I am paying for them now. So show your girls some love. Tune in with me week after week for Movies with Tay on Fridays. Starting next month, we will start doing Black History Mondays. So I'm going to continue our Black History train. It's just going to be once a week. And then also next month, on Wednesdays, you'll get an episode of Anguish. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you'll get something from me every time, and starting next month. But once again, it's been your host with the most, real Taylor Nicole. Argue with your mom, I'm out.